There you go.
Are we live? Yeah,
Yes.
That means yes. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Guitar Show. This is day 2. And friends, what we're talking about today is how to create those catchy guitar hooks, those catchy hooks for songs with chord noodling, okay? So if you saw the little promo that we did there on Instagram, we had, what was the song? It was You Shook Me All Night Long, right? Super catchy, right? You guys love this one. I do too, right? Well, guess what? It's just a G, C, and D chord. That's the 3 most popular chords in the history of the universe, the most used 3 chords ever. Rock, blues, whatever. It's literally the most used chords. So why do those 3 little boring chords create such a really cool lick? It's because of something that I refer to as chord noodling, because there's a little melody flowing through all 3 of those chords that create a continuity, a string sewn together. Makes it all seem like it's the same thing, right? Right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We talked about this yesterday. I showed you examples. We were in the key of C. Today we're in the key of G. And what I say is, if you're learning this technique, learn it in the key of C and the key of G. Because if we take all the notes in C, we take all the notes in G, and we put them together, they're only off by 1 note. In the key of C, it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B. No sharps, no flats. In the key of G, we have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. And then back to G again. So literally, if we take those two scales, we superimpose them, they're exactly the same, except the F is sharp in the key of G, where it's natural in the key of C. So that's great. What does that mean to us? That means that the only thing that we need to really know is that this F that's right here will be F in the key of C and F sharp in the key of G. Yes, there are other Fs that we'll have to transpose to F sharp. In fact, any F that we would use in the key of G, we will need to make it an F sharp if we want to be, if we want to work inside that key. But realistically, there's only one place on the neck that we need to be doing this for, and we're going to talk about that. Okay? All right, friends, very excited that you're here today. So this is how it's going to go. If you've never done these with us before, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to teach you the lesson here. And then I'm going to take your questions in real time. So we're on many platforms now, by the way. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. There's others. Twitter.
Motion.
Who?
Daily Motion.
Daily Motion.
Smashcast.
All sorts of places. So that's cool. And we're going to get to your questions there, right? So feel free to jump in, but I'm really going to be looking for your questions after the quick little lesson here that I'm going to show you with some examples, and then that's the time to answer to ask those questions. All caps with a question mark is very helpful. I won't feel like you're screaming at me for the sake of what we're doing here. It'll make it easier for me to see. Awesome. Okay. There's that. Also, I have a PDF for you today. Really, really, really important that you get this. I built it for you, so you might as well download it. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything, not even an email or any sort of information. I just want you to have it and do this lesson with me so that you can move forward with the guitar and have fun. That's the only thing. If I can help you out in another way, let me do that for you too. Link below, YourGuitarSage.com/UGS will get you into the Unstoppable Guitar System for free, UGS Standard. We have a ton of folks in the program right now that are in Pro. We have a ton of folks that have gone through the 30 already. If you're the only person who hasn't gone through this, friends, you got to do it, because it will absolutely revolutionize the way that you think, the way that you play the guitar, and it's going to help with all these lessons that I do, because it's going to truly bolster your foundation and give you a rock-solid foundation so that you can build everything on top of that. I can't tell you how many people get in touch with me all the time and they ask me something that's intermediate or advanced, and then I can literally, because I've done this so much, I can find out from them very quickly if they know the basics. And I would say, you got to go back to those basics. You have to do that first. There's no such thing as anybody in any sort of anything, music or otherwise, who just went straight to the top and did whatever it is that they do at the top and didn't learn the other stuff. Nobody does that. So you shouldn't expect that you would do the same on the guitar, okay? All right. And I'm very encouraging, by the way. That's just the truth. I'm saving you a lot of heartache there. You got to learn this basic stuff. That's why I'm giving the course to you for free today. All right, friends, before we start, please, if you would, go ahead, give this video a thumbs up. If you've done that already, share this with some friends out to the cyberspace where the aliens live and other folks who don't know that what we're doing here, and you'll bring them into the fold here and we can all learn how to play guitar. Cool? All right. That and subscribe, notification bell. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. Now, the stuff I'm showing you today is all based off of the PDF that I'm giving you today. And I think I'm giving you more than just C and G. I think I'm also A, G, and E. I did it for those keys as well. Let me give you a top-down understanding of what it is that we're doing here, and then we'll go into this. So I explained this a little bit yesterday, but when we're talking about a particular key, or when we're talking about being in a key, we're talking about 99.999% of all music that you've ever heard, are hearing, or will hear in the rest of your life. There's something called atonal or 12-tone music that doesn't follow those rules. And there's a reason why it's not the hit of the summer. There's a reason why people don't listen to it very often. And that only very, very intellectual type, musicologist type people, I've been there before, will say, I listened to this, okay? In college, when you find it and you're like, oh yeah, you listen to this music. And at the end of the day, no one listens to it, and go ahead and delve into that realm if you'd like to, but you're going to find it's very unfulfilling. It's the reason that it's not popular. Okay, so 99.9% of all music is tonal based, and specifically it's diatonic based, that which is based off of the major scale. Whole step, half step, whole, half. It's all the stuff I teach you inside of UGS Standard. And once you understand that basic structure of the major scale, whole, where it goes whole, half, whole, half, you can play this in any key, and all the chords that belong to that scale, that tonal center, are built upon that scale. So you end up having the chords major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And because of that, now you have the DNA or the fingerprint. Just like you can look at your thumb and you can say, well, my thumbprint looks just like your thumbprint. And we know that that's not true because you and I don't have the eyes to just look at our thumbprint and go, oh, well, it looks the same. We know this is not the same because there are minute details in there that determine your fingerprint from my fingerprint. Same thing when we're talking about music. You know this from a real world scenario. I've said this before. My boy doesn't know what gravity is. You and I know it. We don't know how it works, but we have a basic idea. Science is changing their mind again on this, as they do a lot of things. Gravity, we don't know how it works, but it works. But if tomorrow we had no idea, no one ever even told us of the word gravity, and tomorrow if gravity stopped working, we immediately would know about gravity because of not knowing it. So same thing with the tonal center. You may not be able to identify the tonal center now or even know what that means. But if tomorrow, from now on, any advertisement that you heard, Target or otherwise, played atonal or 12-tone music instead of tonal-based music, you would be very confused and said, what the heck is going on in the universe, okay? So you know this instinctually, but you may not know how to identify it. Those are the things that we're going to be talking about today. So a tonal center has a certain set of notes, and that's what makes it the key of G, or the key of C, or the key of A minor, whatever. 12 different keys. And that specific key will have naturally occurring notes and naturally occurring chords based upon vibration. Okay, that's about as deep as we're going to go there, because if I went any deeper, you're going to get bored, and at the end of the day, it's not going to help you musically. So just understand that. So we're talking about that which has a tonal center, which is everything. Now, if we're noodling, chord noodling in the key of G, basically what we're doing is we're in the key of G, that G is our tonal center, with a G as the major chord, the one chord, and then our chords are G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F diminished, and back to G, okay? And because of that, it all points back to the one, okay? Now, when we're talking about chord noodling, we're talking about playing chords, and we're talking about noodling or embellishing notes that are within those chords in order to create something catchy, in order to create those catchy rock hits, right? Whatever it is. Sorry, I was mixing up two songs there. I'm playing chords. But that sounds less like what Angus played, right? But you still hear it because I just played it. Now what happens if I did this? If I went, again, less. So all of these little tidbits, the way that I play it, the notes that I play, very, very important, is going to determine whether it's the song You Shook Me All Night Long or some other country song or something else, right? Okay, got that out of the way. Good. Now, this idea is, it eludes folks sometimes because I think they think they're trying to do it too complex. Just like yesterday, I'm trying to teach this concept and people are asking, well, yeah, what about the rest of the neck? Cool, have you mastered this? Because let's not talk about the rest of the neck until you've mastered this. Day one of juggling, if you can't juggle 2 balls, we don't even need to discuss juggling 3, 4, 5 bowling pins. There you go, that's one of my trigger words there. Bowling pins, okay? Other ones are coming. So what we need to do is we need to think very simply. And the more simple you think about this, the quicker you're gonna get the concept. You can always make it complex later, but here's a little hint, or here's a little bonus. By making it complex, you're gonna lose what makes it so cool. So think simple, try not to let your ego get in the way of, well, if I make it complex, it's gonna sound better. Nope, not true, because this is about the most simple lick that anyone could ever play, and it's so daggone cool, okay? All right, now, when we're chord noodling, and let me give you some other examples here. Basically, what we're doing is we're just playing a chord progression, a progression of chords. Several chords strung together in a motif, typically 4 measures or so, and it's catchy. You know, we might do something like G, C, D. I'm just grabbing chords. 1, 4, 5 are very popular chords that we can play. And, you know, I could play that and that's fine, but if I didn't do something to it, like add some melody notes to it, then it might sound a little boring. So I might do something like this. You know? Now, let's do this again. So this little melody line, this, it's like a drone note that is a little thread that goes throughout these chords, but in this case here it's 2 notes. It's a motif. A motif is a musical idea specifically one that repeats and really hooks into your brain so that you're like, what am I listening to? What is that? Sounds familiar. Well, you've heard melodies like that before, so it's going to be this something that brings everybody together, brings all the chords together instead of just chords, right? If we have 3 people standing in a room, that's just 3 people standing in a room. But what happens if we could get those 3 people to work together? If we said, hey, what do you think about so-and-so? What do you think about guitars? It just so happens that all 3 people love guitars. Now they're talking. Now there's a different energy in the room because they have something in common. And that's all what we're doing here is we're taking 3 chords that normally would just be chords just hanging out, not doing anything, and we're stringing them together with a little melody, which makes it really fun, and it hooks your ear, okay? And if you can get in the habit of doing this sort of thing when you're writing your songs or just coming up with parts, you're going to find that everything sounds so much better when you have that sort of thing going on, okay? Now, again, we said the key in the chords in the key of G are G major, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, and F diminished. Now, we're probably only going to use, just for the sake of what we're doing here, the 1, the 4, 5, minor 6, maybe the minor 2. So meaning the G major, C major, D major, E minor, A major. I'm seeing E minor, A minor. We're just going to use those, okay? But you can truly use any ones that you want. What you'll find is that sometimes the fingering may not work out like you want them to, and then you have to just deal with that. It's just like life. You know, life's not perfect. You got to deal with stuff as it comes at you. So you just figure it out, you know, or you don't use that chord. So in this case here, I picked those few chords and I had to alter, you know, my C chord looks like this normally, but if I want to play that melody up top, I've got to mute that 4th string because I can't play it because it's not part of the chord. I need those fingers for goofing up here, for noodling right there. Make sense? So, when we're talking about the key of G, the F is sharped. So just like in the PDF that I'm giving you, I gave you C, A, G, E, and D. I gave you 5 keys. But the C and the G are so closely related, and if you understand how to use your capo exactly the way that I teach you inside of UGS Standard, which is free for you today, YourGuitarSage.com/UGS is where you're going to find that. If you know how to play in the key of G and the key of C, then you can use your capo and move that up so that the keys of C and G can be played in 12 other keys, or in all the keys, I should say. So now, just because you're capo and you knowing those 2 keys, you literally can play in every major and minor key if you understand the difference between relative major and minor, which I have videos for that here on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage relative major minor. And basically it's the idea that every major key has a related minor key, every minor key has a related major key. They share the same sets of notes and chords. If you don't know about this, watch that video, it will blow your mind, okay? So, with that being said, you really can do this with just knowing the key of C and the key of G. And since the key of C and G are only 1 note away from each other, I'm making it super frickin' easy for you. Super frickin' easy, okay? So, there you go. So, what I like to do when I'm doing these chord noodling bits, usually because your chords are moving around, which are your lower notes always, right? You're always moving around those lower notes. I try to stay away from those notes because melody is typically not in the low notes, it's in the higher notes. So when I'm doing chord noodling, and when most people do this sort of thing, they're talking about strings 1, 2, and 3, okay? Jimmy's saying, I heard some bare naked ladies. You might have. There's a slew of them back here. I'm joking. No, you might hear that because here's the deal. What you're hearing is you're hearing music, you're hearing elementary segments of music, and you will hear odes to that. And I may not have even ever heard that song. I think they're a great band and they have massive hooks. But what I'm saying is that when you're talking about creating these patterns in music, a lot of times it will sound like this or that or the other thing. It's because those are what we call the sign of nature, signature. It's like it's replete throughout nature. When Ford was on here the other day, he said there's a reason why nature oftentimes will, like the birds and what have you, will sing diatonically. They're not singing atonally, they're singing diatonically, like within a scale. There's a reason for that. Okay, so when we're playing here, like I said, we're trying to keep the melody line to strings 1, 2, and 3. We can get complex with it, but I suggest you don't do that. Let's just stick to 1 string at a time, and let's only stick with 2, maybe 3 notes. Okay, so let's think of some examples. What I like to do is I go, okay, what are the chords that I'm going to play? In this case, I'm going to do a G and an E minor. I'm just experimenting, and this is something I really encourage you to do, is put some parameters on your artwork. I was talking to a friend about this one time we're just talking about giving examples to students and what have you, and she said in art class that the first day that you arrive in art class, they do not say, paint whatever you want, come back, and I'll evaluate it. Just like if you remember sitting in class when your professor would ask you to do a paper and you'd say, well, how long does the paper need to be? Do you need, what are the things, bibliography, right? Or do you need, what's the things, not citations, but when you, at the end of the, when you took information from someplace else, you put that at the end, whatever. You ask these things because you want to make sure that what you're presenting is going to get a good grade, and there's parameters. So here's something that I would encourage you to do is put parameters on your art. Whoa, 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 before you freak out on me. What I'm saying is this. Yes, the world's your oyster, you can do anything, you're unlimited. But if you don't put some parameters, at least, that you can bust out of, then you can have any colors, any palette, any canvas, and now you're in anywhere land and nothing comes out. But if I said to you, what I would like you to do is paint a picture right now. I want it to be acrylic paint, and I want it to be on this type of canvas, and I want it to be using only colors red and black, and I want you to paint a picture of love. Okay, now you got some parameters. Now you're like, oh, I can do that. Some people are going to paint a heart. Some people are going to paint a heart with an arrow through it. Some people are going to paint Cupid with a heart. Some people are going to paint a bunch of hearts. I don't know, whatever it is, they're going to be painting. They're only going to be using black and red, and that's going to immediately go, well, I can't do much with that, so what can I do? And automatically you're going to be able to do something. Same thing with what we're talking about here. If you allow yourself to have some little borders there, doesn't mean you can't break out of them. And when an idea pushes you outside those borders, then by all means, move the border. But have those borders set up at first, because that's going to help you. Any good art student will know that, okay? You're a good art student, because music is art is subjective, and you know this now, okay? So what I would say is this. I would say, I'm going to just for kicks and giggles. I'm experimenting. I'm painting. I'm having fun. We're having fun here. I'm going to take a G and an E minor. G major, E minor. I'm going to take those two chords, and then I'm going to take some sort of little melody and see if I can come up with something. So I'm only going to do the melody on the high E string, and we'll see what happens, okay? So maybe I'll do something like this melody here. I'll have this. So I'm doing G, F sharp, E. And so I might go like this. What about that? How cool is that? I love that. Now, what happens if I just had played this? But instead of me doing that little melody thing, I did this. That's boring, isn't it? It's like I'm on those chords for a long ass time for nothing to be happening. But now we got this little melody, and I bet some of you probably liked the chords that I did just now because you already had that little hook in your head. You were already humming it. I know I was. Even though I played those chords, it was still in my mind because I'm like, I need something there. Give me something. You need to give your crowd something. That's your job, is to make your crowd smile, to make them happy. Otherwise, get the hell off the stage, right? Jump around, put on some makeup, have some fun, play the guitar nice and loud, melodies, all the rest. People want to see a show. That's your job if you want to be a performer. If you so choose this mission, you need to perform. Okay? No one wants to listen or watch somebody who's boring. So how are you going to make it fun? We're going to add some fun little melodies here, okay? Now, I just literally pulled that straight out of the air. I could have done anything. I could go, doesn't matter. 2, 3 notes at the most to start off. And you want something that repeats, or I should say, for this art project, friends, we want something that repeats. You can expound on this all you want later, but start very simply until you can go, Eric, I got my hands wrapped around this. I got this. This is cool. I could take this to a million different places, okay? Now, let's take the same melody, but let's go, let's do a G and a C. Super easy. Now some folks say, well, how do I know what notes to use? Look, we set up parameters already, right? We set up parameters. We know what key we're in. You can use any notes that you want. What do you like? I bet you if I put a poop sandwich in front of you, I bet that you would say, I don't want a poop sandwich. I would prefer peanut butter and jelly, please. Most of you would say that, right? So the deal is that you know what your tastes are. You know what you like. You know what you don't like. Cool? Right? So music's the same way. What do you like? Do you like the sound of it or don't you? That's your liberty. You're liberated to do anything in there. What do you like? And if the answer is I like that, you did a great job. If the answer is you don't like that, then choose a different note. Don't overanalyze this. Does that make sense? Now, we could do some more examples, and we will. Let's here we go. Let's try, and sometimes you have to think about the fingering differently, right? Let's do this. Let's go. I'm gonna do a little melody note on the second string here. I'm gonna go. So it's a difference between a B and a C. Maybe I'll go, okay, just randomly decided to throw in another note. I decided to go outside my parameters there. I told you I was going to only use 2 notes, but then I decided for that last one, I'm going to add another note. And I literally just did that on the fly because I thought it was boring and I needed to bring in another note to say, hey, we're turning back to the original chord. Listen to what I did there. I went. Music's all about tension and release, yin and yang. Without the yin, there ain't no yang. Without the tension, there's no release. So, you could have, no, you really can't have music without tension. You cannot. Release is tonal center. That's it. So in order for you to have a song that has no tension, you just have to stay right there on that 1 all the time and not go anywhere. Anytime you go out to any other chord, it's creating tension because it always wants to resolve back to the 1. Okay? So that's all we're doing here. This is tension. That's inhale. And exhale. That's the release. Because we don't want to rest on that chord. We want to rest on this chord. These are simple things that you don't need any names for. You're just literally listening and feeling, okay? Use this part of your anatomy, not this part, okay? Now, we could do this with anything. It doesn't matter. We could use the 3rd string if we wanted, okay? Now, we might have to get creative here, but let's see what we can come up with. Let's see, making it up as I'm going along. Just fat fingered a note, and I liked it. So I did. Now I'm doing the 3rd or the 4th string there. Now I would encourage you not to do that at first because now we're getting complex, and some of these chords you're not going to be able to execute in the same way because there's just not enough fingers. Someone asked yesterday, "Can you do this with bar chords?" Yeah, you can, but the whole point of chord noodling is you're noodling little notes and you want many options should you want to use them. And when you're barring chords, you're tying up lots of fingers. So those are your assets so that you can come up with these melodies. If your fingers are tied up playing bar chords are cool. We taught them last week, right? But when you're chord noodling, now you're tying up your inventory, your fingers, so you can get those fun little notes out there, okay? We could do this with 2 notes. We could do it with 3 notes. You could do it with different strings. Doesn't matter. Yesterday we talked about dust in the wind. You know, all that. Now, when we're doing this sort of thing, I see someone talking about sus chords and what have you. This is what we're doing. This is a C major 7, C add 9. Wow, look at you. You're playing all these crazy jazz chords. Kinda, sure you are. But we're not even thinking about that. So why? Again, when you're eating chocolate or you're eating some yummy food, are you thinking about all the specific little thing, like why does that chocolate taste so good? I need to analyze this. No, you're like, I like chocolate. You know, I love lamp. To quote Brick from Ron Burgundy, I love lamp. You get the idea? This is all we're doing is we are choosing notes, playing them over chord progressions so that we are bringing some life to our normally drab chord progressions, and we're bringing these melodies in to create some coolness. Make sense? All right, good. Mike, I was just thinking that if we don't have my monitor today, I can't get questions from other folks, so we're just gonna.
I will read them to you.
You'll read them to me. Thank you, sir.
I can read.
Yay! All right, friends. We had lots of technical difficulties this morning, so I don't have my monitor. So I don't know. Hopefully I put pants on this morning. Yes, I did. All right, we're good for the most part. I got the big stuff taken care of. So we don't have my monitor, so sorry, but we're going to, I'm going to get your questions right here, okay? At least on YouTube, and if there's a good one there, Mike will be grabbing it from one of the other platforms as well, okay? All right, let's dig into this. And friends, if you have not already, you know what to do. In fact, while I take a sip of water here, let's do this. what I want you to do is hit like if you have not already, and if you've done that already, go ahead and share this with some friends, okay? Might as well do it. I'm gonna take a sip of water here in a minute, and I sip a long time. Subscribe button, notification bell. Here I go, I'm sipping. You're doing this. We're doing it together. Here we go. Beautiful. Oh, Willie, yes, indeed. Cameron James, a buddy of mine in town here. He's a producer. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He's a hit songwriter. There's nothing the guy doesn't do. He writes with my wife. They've written many beautiful songs. And I just did an interview with him. Actually, it was just maybe a couple weeks ago during the lockdown. And we're dropping that video today. You got to watch this video. It's really, really cool. You're going to find out more the inner sanctum of the music business here in Nashville. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's get into some questions today. All right, yes, thank you so much. Sandy Lee, first off, Sandy, thank you so much for my Drop D Capo that you sent me the other day. I just got it yesterday, and in fact, we posted something on Instagram last night. Thank you so much for the mask and for the Capo, the Drop D Capo. Super cool. Thank you so much. Yes, we're planning on doing Zoom classes. Friends, if you want to interact with me one-on-one, literally one-on-one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing these Zoom classes. If you're in UGS already, the Unstoppable Guitar System Pro, standard, we can't do that because we've got thousands of folks in there, and it would be really hard to do a Zoom call with thousands of folks. But we're going to be limiting it to just a few hundred. And with these Zoom classes, we're going to be able to interact one-on-one. So you're going to raise your hand in the chat, in the Zoom class, and you'll be on the screen. I'll be able to see you. You'll be able to say, Eric, hey, look, I'm doing this thing with this chord. Can you help me out? And I'll be able to, because through the magic of the internet, we'll be able to do that, okay? So Sandy, yes, if you're in Unstoppable Guitar System Pro, we will be doing that. We'll be doing 3 of them a month, okay? All right, cool. Byron, I'm so sorry that you're waiting on t-shirts. We waited a while too. I think with this whole lockdown thing, they're having some issues right now. So I'm so sorry. That's out of our control. I would suggest emailing them. I'm sure you've done that already. But we did finally get ours. It took a while though. Al's saying, how is a Drop D Capo different? Basically, it just covers up the first 5 strings, not the low E string. So, I mean, essentially, you could do it with a regular capo, like this. But why? But why when you could, you know, when you could charge for it? Yeah, that sort of thing. So you can come up with some cool different things, but you can do it with a regular capo as well. R.A. Henson is saying, what's a diminished chord? So if you don't know the basics, as I cover them in UGS Standard, this will be lost on you, but I'm assuming you know a little bit about the major scale. So R.A. Henson, a diminished chord is a 1, flat 3, flat 5 of the major scale. Or another way you can say it is, it's a minor chord with a flatted 5. If that just went over your head, it's because you're not in UGS Standard, and I give that to you for free today. I implore you to get in there because you would understand what I'm saying just now if you went through that program. Otherwise, that's what a diminished chord is. All right. Good. Okay. Is noodling different chords within the same chord by lifting a finger or two? Yes. Is noodling different chords within the same chord? Is noodling different chords within the same chord? Yes, I think I know what you're saying. Yes, because if I'm playing a C chord and I lift my first finger up, right? If I do that, then now all of a sudden I have a C. This is a C major. That's C major 7. That's a C add 9. So yeah, anytime we change a note or two, we're changing the voicing of the chord, and if we're playing a note outside of the natural math of that chord, in the case of a major chord, it's a 1-3-5, and if we are playing anything other than a 1-3-5, now we're altering that chord by a name, like a major 7 or a add 9, that sort of thing. Cool? All right, yeah. TBA, that's a half diminished. No, it's not. A half diminished chord, it would have to be a 7th chord. So what I said was correct. That is a diminished chord. A half diminished chord is when you add the 7th. So you're taking a diminished chord. A diminished chord is a 1-flat-3-5, indeed. But if you're talking about a 7th chord, you're talking about, then you have fully diminished or half diminished. When you're talking about half diminished chords, you're talking about 7th chords. What they asked for was what's a diminished chord, and that was a correct definition. What you're talking about, half diminished, has to do with the 7th. Is it a flat 7 or is it a double flat 7? And that's the difference between a half diminished and a fully diminished. Oh, and you add part of it there. A fully diminished chord has a double flat 7, right. But a half diminished chord does not have a double flat 7. It has just a flat 7. So you take a diminished chord, put the flat 7 on top of it, now you have a half diminished chord. So you're very, very close in what you're saying there. Or I've been teaching it wrong for 35 years, which I'm not saying I haven't, but I'm pretty darn sure about that one. Is there an easy move, but I'm open to being wrong. Is there an easily movable diminished chord? Yeah, well, they're all movable. Is it easily movable? Nah, maybe not. Okay, Marine Mama, thank you. I can't be here today. My guitar therapist is coming today. I don't know how to fire him, Eric. I want pro, but hubby said I have to fire him. Therapist, don't want to hurt him. Marine Mama, I get it, but you know something? I don't know. Here's my opinion on that, is it's not your obligation to make, if you want to make everybody feel good, there's a few billion people that could use some relief. So set up the queue. If the person's not doing their job, then I don't know. I won't go down that road. But if it were me and somebody wasn't delivering on something I was paying them, I'd get rid of them. Because there's somebody else. How about this? Let me put it this way. There's somebody else who deserves your money who will work harder for you. So you're denying that person your money. That's how I would put it. I say that to folks all the time because they're like, man, I got this friend and they're a real nag and they're tearing me down, and I just feel bad about letting them go. And I'm like, really? Because there's somebody else who's waiting for your friendship or your relationship or whatever, who's much kinder than them, and they're waiting, and you're denying them because you're hanging on to bozo. So there you go. There's your liberty. Now you get to go and, be with someone who's nice. Be with a teacher who's nice or that's teaching you like you need to be. Dennis is saying, hey, Eric, I find that changing guitar strumming patterns with an interdispersed finger pick can change the flavoring too. Can you teach on this? I don't know what that means, Dennis. I'm sorry. Hey, Eric, I find that changing guitar strumming patterns with an interdispersed finger pick, I don't know what that means at all. I'm so sorry. I would need more detail. And then I could teach it probably. Okay. Oh, TBA, no, that's great. And I love that you're adding to this TBA. This is all about the community, and I don't mind being challenged. I've been wrong before in guitar lessons, 100%. I've been wrong. Don't mind it if you guys call me out. If I say something incorrectly because I just tripped over my words, not that that's ever happened, or if I actually say something wrong. I've said, I did a Van Halen video years ago where I talked about Van Halen having a floating tremolo system. That's totally incorrect. That video's out there and I get jabs for it all the time. I'm sorry, I can't go back and edit it, okay? But 100% I was wrong. I don't mind you guys calling me out if I'm saying something that challenge me. I don't care. This is all about the community here. This is what makes the YourGuitarSage community so awesome, is that we can do that, and it is an open forum, and we can lift each other up, and iron sharpens iron and all that good stuff. What chord is used in popular music for the 7th chord when in the key of G? So we can use, technically we can use 7th chords for any chord, but the ones that are popular in the key of G, the C7 chord, I'm sorry, the D7 chord is the one that you would use that naturally occurs. The 1 chord, which is a G, and the 4 chord, which is a C, naturally occurring 7th chords would be major 7, but in blues, we play those as 7th chords all day long. So, right? There's our C7, G7, D7, C7. So, yeah. So you can use those 7th chords wherever you want, but naturally occurring, diatonically speaking, the 5 chord, which in the key of G is a D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how we find it, is by going through the major scale. Just moving up, right? Is most of the noodling you're doing sus2 and sus4? It is maybe on certain chords for certain strings, but no, it's not. And I'm not even thinking about it, to be honest with you, Brian. But yes, so the noodle note is the 3rd, right? So if we're, like on a D chord here, what Brian is saying is, you know, are you going back and forth between a sus2, which is using the 2 instead of the 3 of the chord, or the 4, a sus4, we're using the 4 instead of the 3. When we're playing this D chord and we're noodling on that 1st string, then yeah, sus2, D major, D sus4, yeah. But when we're going to a C chord, you know, then, and we're noodling this note, the 1st finger, then no, we're not doing that. So the answer is most of the noodling you're doing, no, not most, about a 1/3 of it. All right, great. Oh, thank you, Marine Mama, so kind. Okay. Oh, thank you, Steve. I fired mine when I found you, Eric. Thank you. Okay, Dan is saying, how do I back up from Pro to Standard so I get these basics? Dan, everything that's in Standard is in Pro. So Dan, go back to the beginner section of UGS Pro and you'll have all the access to everything we're talking about in Standard there. It's basically the first 30 or so lessons inside of UGS. So if you haven't gone through those already, I implore you to do that. Got to have that foundation for sure. What about George Harrison's Something? Didn't he change the C chord noodling a bit in the first few bars? Yes, yes. Something in the way she moves, something in the way, something in the way she moves. So there you go. Goes from a C to a C major 7. Something in the way she moves. Yes, 100%. Something the way she moves. I know I'm in love. So he's doing all sorts of chord noodling there, by the way. Right, so we have a C major 7, then a C 7th, which there you go, breaking rules, right? If that's the 1, which I don't know if it is in this song or not. Yeah, it is. It's the 1. Then normally that chord would just be an F major 7, and then he shouldn't go to here. But who's going to tell the Beatles that they shouldn't do something, right? That's what made the Beatles so cool. They had their parameters, but then they bumped outside of those. If you bump too far outside of them, now you have a cacophony of craziness. No one wants to hear your stuff. More is not more sometimes. Sometimes it's just more. It's like, it's annoying. That whole go big, go home, that's lazy. Sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't. When it comes to music, it's about finesse. So yeah, but Otto, you are correct. Yes, sir. Yes, Walter, you're correct. Eric, it's also not about working correctly. Maybe it's just not a good fit, and that's that. Yep. Flow, man. Flow. I think he was saying chord noodling with different strumming patterns. Yeah, you could use different strumming patterns. The strumming patterns is, you can use any strumming pattern or finger picking pattern that you want. It's more about what are you doing with those individual notes. Does that make sense? All right. All caps with a question mark will help me if you would, my friends. What's going on back there?
Just wait for it.
Can noodling break into a guitar solo? Can noodling break into a guitar solo? Yeah, maybe if you had too much caffeine, you could just break into anything, break into a dance. Usually, Matthew, what we're talking about is with chord noodling, we're talking about very simple stuff. So yeah, you could break into a solo, but what we're talking about here is just keeping focused. That's my job, is to keep you guys focused, because that's where you're going to see the quickest advancements, not being all over the place. Not saying that's what you're doing, but yeah, we could, but it's a different thing, Oh, Marine Mama, I love this. I'm so codependent. Eric deserves the credit in how much I've improved, not to mention meditating and exercises. Woo! Seriously, believe me when I say this has changed my life. I love that, Marine Mama. Thank you so much for letting us know that. It really does. It's like coming to work is great. Making money is great. It's fun to pay bills and not go into foreclosure. I've been there before. That's not fun. Money's good. It's fun. You can buy stuff, guitars and things. But it's so rewarding. And we would have to be able to keep the lights on, obviously. That's one. But number two, the fact that we get messages like that on the daily, many messages like that every single day, makes us all, the whole team, because we've got a team of winners here. They're not just like people who just come in here and plug in hours. They care as much as I do. And for us to see that stuff helps us get up in the morning and go, gonna do it again. Let's keep doing this. People are being moved by this. So I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Marine Mama. It means a lot to me. Can we use triad chords? Yes, you can. Yes, you can use triad chords, indeed. You can use any chords you want to do this. Can you play soloing, a solo over noodling? Yeah, you sure can. And in fact, as I mentioned yesterday, a lot of times when you do that, it's inspiration. Those little melodies are inspiration. And they will inspire you to play something. They just do. They just do. Just like if no one's speaking in a room and then someone starts talking, that's going to inspire you to speak. If they're talking about something that you really are intent or you're excited about, then you're going to be more moved, more inspired to speak. And if you're sitting in the room with your favorite rock star, your favorite, Tony Robbins or whoever your dude is or your gal is that you are inspired by, if they're sitting next to you, you're going to be even more inspired to speak. So yes, noodling is that same way. It's like something that tickles your ear and makes you go, oh, I could do this, Evan, the song we were talking about is called Something. Or I think it's called Something by the Beatles. Why is it called noodling? In notation, it's not going to say noodling or lift your finger. Nope, it does not, Lewis. I call it noodling as just like a basic term. Like, well, what are you doing there? I'm chord noodling. It's just like you're playing chords. You're doing this. because I'm just playing a noodly note, a little melody there while I'm playing some chords. So it's just like a basic idea. It doesn't need to say that in notation. We're just moving fingers. So it's not like, uh-oh, chord noodling, I gotta get ready. You're chord noodling, pretty often. This right here. I mean, that's chord noodling, right? Example to my question. Your wife wrote for Disney. Would in a regular melody would go into Happy Irish Jig and then relax back to the melody because the characters are spent? Example to my question. Your wife wrote for Disney. Would in a regular melody would go into a Happy Irish Jig and then relax back to the melody because the characters are spent, tired. Dennis, I still don't know what you mean. I'm so sorry. And don't understand that. Can you play some D-string noodling over G and C chords? Seems those are used as much as well. Yeah, you can use any string. This is what I want you to do. Understand that there's no rules to this. They're just paints. So figure out what paints you like and figure out if it works with your palette, with what you're doing. Do you like it? And do you have access to the paints? Meaning, do you have access to the notes when you're playing through the chords? If you don't, that's like not having access. You go down to Hobby Lobby and the paints they're not there. So what other paint could you use? What else could you do? Could you mix a couple paints? Could you do something different? And, music's all about improvisation. It's all about figuring out things, right? Cacophony of Craziness would be a great band name, yeah. What is better, picking or fingerstyle? Neither. They're different things. It's strawberry and chocolate. What do you like? Do you like strawberry or chocolate? Which one's better? Quick. Yeah, exactly. There's no better. It's just what do you like? Half the people will say strawberry, half will say chocolate. All right. Sweet, sweet. Can't stress enough to start at the very beginning of UGS, no matter how basic the lesson seems. That's right. I've watched each one multiple times and always pick up something of value. Indeed, I try to tell people, I heard this expression the other day and it sums it up perfectly. It's like, we're running out of time. Slow down. Meaning, if you are trying to rush through something and you keep messing it up over and over and over again, maybe it's time to slow down so that you can learn it quicker. We really live in a world right now that is moving so quickly and people don't know how to get off the daggone merry-go-round. You got to slow things down. The people who are slowing down right now instead of speeding up are the people that are gonna get all of this stuff. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, your business, learn something, that's the person who's going to learn quicker, not the person who's trying to learn quick. You're going to learn as quick as you can learn. That's it. And if you're putting a teeny bit more than what you can learn, you're already short-circuiting yourself. So it's like there's a barometer, and you can only learn so much so quickly, and then let it assimilate. Ah, beautiful. Thank you, Max. Get the free 30 lessons. What did you say here? Oh no! Shoot! Here we go. Get the free 30 lessons. It will blow your mind. Take your guitar playing to the next level. Thank you so much, Max. Beautiful. Yes, over the hills and far away. So I was trying to think about it in my mind. Yes, chord noodling, indeed. Can someone put the link to the free 30 lessons for Pepper? Yeah, we can do that. We will put that. It's also in the link below, YourGuitarSage.com/UGS. But yes, Emmy will throw that into the chat here. Oh, by the way, we have a donation here. I want to recognize them. Steve, thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Eric, you are the best. Thank you, Steve. I love that. Super kind, and I appreciate you, buddy. It means a lot. Egypt is in the house here. Noodling is similar to doodling or sketching. Yeah, kind of. Except, I feel like doodling or sketching is kind of practicing. But you most assuredly can have noodling as a part in a song on a hit record that you will know forevermore, When I think of doodling or sketching, I think of the preliminary drawing, and then you're going to work around that sketch. But it definitely has a real specific place. Jeff is saying, I'm learning a long solo with many similar repeating parts, riffs, and I keep getting lost. Don't know where I'm at in the solo. Any tips? Jeff, yes, learn the first phrase and get that down really well. Get it down so well that you're not going to forget it. Then move to phrase 2 and do phrase 2. Once you know phrase 2, do phrase 1 and 2 together. Okay? Until you can do them both together seamlessly. That's it. Put that to rest. Look at phrase 3. Get it down, phrase 3, separately. Then seam 1, 2, and 3 together, or just 2 and 3, and then ultimately, before you go to phrase 4, practice 1, 2, and 3 together. Then bring in asset 4. Do asset 4, get that lick down, learn it, seam it together, and then so on and so forth. That's how you're going to do it. Boom, everything is a noodle, just need to decide what type of noodles you like. Exactly, I like macaroni. I do too. He probably will outlive all the stones, yeah. Beautiful, J. Rick, 92, thanks for the donation, my friend. Beautiful. Okay, I'm trying to get to every single one of these. And I'm sure I'm missing some of them. Should I get a pedal or a processor for my electric guitar? What's the difference? Andy, we would have to have a longer talk. It's not as simple as that. A pedal is a processor. A pedal is a processor. So you have to learn a little bit more about effects. I've got videos on this, but it would be really hard for anybody to honestly answer that question without more information. I would suggest watching some videos on guitar effects. I have some inside of UGS for sure. I have some on YouTube. Just search YourGuitarSage effects. You'll find some. I have like a pedal board tour, if you will, and I talk about the pedal board and the order of the pedals and that sort of thing. So processors, the way you're probably talking about them, they're all processors, but if you're talking about like a modeling amp or something like that, these multi-effects units are more bang for the buck, but there's a caveat to that too. You don't have the modular bit. So if you buy a multi-effects processor and you love the delay and the reverb, but you hate the overdrives, well, you're stuck with those overdrives. Now you still got to go out and buy modular pedals, that sort of thing. Okay, good, right? Merry-go-round. It's freaking merry-go-round right now. It really is. Hang on. Hang on. Don't fear. Fear does nothing for you. Zero things for you. Just keep your head on and do what you're supposed to do, and get rid of the fear. And that's a mental game. Okay, chord noodling equals chord embellishment. Yes, decorative tones when playing with another guitar. Only one player noodles at a time, not as much as to clash with each other. Yeah, probably for the most part. Your ear can only handle so many ideas at once. So you'll notice, I used to notice this with Mutt Lange productions, like anything that Mutt Lange would do. AC/DC, Def Leppard, Shania Twain, Foreigner. Massive hits. The Chords, I think they only had one album, but the Chords. And so what he would do is you'd hear this lick happening on the guitar, and then all of a sudden the bass, your ear would follow the bass and its hooks, and then now you're listening to the melody of the singer. And then all of a sudden it was a keyboard. And truth be told, they were all playing licks, but he would allow people to jump out of the mix and spotlight them for just a cool part. They're like, oh yeah, play that part there. And then so that part would jump out more to your ear, he might have the rest of the band lay back a little bit so it's not taking so much from that. If you've ever been in a conversation where you tell a joke or something like that, but maybe somebody else was talking and they don't hear the joke, that would be an instance of that. Whereas if there was a lull there, or you had a poignant statement, but it was just that other people were talking at that time, your statement would have been more powerful if someone hadn't been talking. That sort of thing. In production, we have to do this all the time. We have to, tell one player to hold back a little bit and bring this player out a little bit. You see conductors doing this all the time when they're like, come on, give that to me. Give me more of those cellos, or give me this, and he'll do this, hold back. It's the same thing. We're talking about production. So it's not to say that you couldn't have two guitar parts going on, two noodling parts at the same time, but usually not, because your ear can typically only hold on to one idea at a time. Same thing with, this is how we think. This is why people that believe that they're multitasking aren't really multitasking, because you technically can only be focused on one thing at a time. Now you may be able to go focus, unfocus, focus over here, unfocus, focus over here, but now they're showing that, of course, that's not very quality type of activity for your brain. It doesn't get you to the next level of things, because in order to really get to the next level of things, you need to hyper-focus. Read the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. That idea of hyper-focus, I talk about this all the time, will get you to new levels. Otherwise, you're just going to the same place every time. All right. Fear does lead to the dark side, Rick said. Yep, it sure does. And what we mean by that is incessant fear. Yeah, if a shark's attacking you, you're going to have fear. You're not going to be led to the dark side. But this incessant fear that people create in their head, there's a lot of it going on right now. The UGS family is throwing out some tasty tunes for you Tuesday. Playlist anyone? Okay, is the person who ordered the Spark amp in here today, if estimated? Okay, so yeah, I know that those Spark amps are coming out now, and folks have those on back ordered. Let me know how those turn out. I bet you they're cool. Eric, hammer-on pull-offs and slides considered noodling? Yeah, indeed, for sure. So, sounds like a fast car. We talked about that yesterday. So that's a hammer. Yeah, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, all of that. Yep, faux show. Musicians hold back all the time when vocals are being highlighted. Indeed, that's what makes a Nashville player a great Nashville player. Is when you want them to jump forward, they'll do it, and otherwise they get out of the way. It's a discipline. Just need a bear reference. Oh, it's coming, Willie. It's coming. All right, good. Mike, do we have any questions on any other platforms?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, ultimately, when we're talking about this chord noodling, friends, I want you to understand to just get started. Start on one string. Start with two chords. Start with one chord. Make it super, super easy for yourself. Then when that gets boring, bring in another chord. Bring in another note maybe. But don't do this all at once. You want to ease yourself into this. But start with something easy. Take a D chord. Here, you want the easiest chord noodling thing you can do? Take a D chord and make it a suspended chord. And just do that. or just, yeah, just the suspended. I did a suspended 4, I did a sus 2. Do whatever you want to do there, but right? The simpler you can make it, the better this stuff is going to stick, and you'll always be able to complicate things later on, okay? I'm jumping into a little bit further in the chat here where I was not able to answer questions, all right? Indy Dead, circle of fifths next week to help us continue to open up chordal scales, etc. on the fretboard. You know, Indy Dead, you know what's so funny is that that almost was the subject of last week. Do we have the subject for next week? Do you guys remember off the top of your head?
Yeah.
We can't, what was it?
Finger picking?
Oh, is it finger picking? Yeah, it is. I think you're right. No, we're doing finger picking next week. But circle of fifths, I'm pretty sure we're doing yes, we are doing finger picking. We decided that yesterday. That's what's going to be the live show next week, which we're going to do. I think we're going to drop it back to, an hour, friends. I want to give you a solid lesson, answer your questions, get the heck out of Dodge so that you guys can do your thing, but I want to be available to you. But I think the 2-hour lessons I think that was good when we were all locked down or what have you, and we were really intensely going into some stuff. But here, it's like I'm going to be able to give you the PDF every single time. We're going to do 2 days of it. So, I mean, that's essentially what we were doing before, 2 hours, but over 2 days. Now we're doing 4 hours on a particular subject. It's a little bit much, I think. So, starting next week, Monday and Tuesday, 1 hour a pop is what we're going to do. There's going to be a PDF for you every time, I'm hoping, should we need a PDF. And then I'll be getting to your questions too. So that's what we're going to do next week. But Indie Dead, I have a video on the circle of fifths. And of course, if you're in UGS Pro, I have a whole course dedicated to the circle of fifths and how powerful it is if you just understand the concept. Yeah. All right. All right, good. Love to see finger picking. Yep, we're going to be doing it. Only 2 days next week. Yeah, Steve. So for the last, I don't know, maybe like the last week, I think was only 2 days. And this week, 2 days. So right now, we're talking about 2 days a week, Monday and Tuesday, starting at 11 a.m. So 11 to 12 is what we're going to be doing. It's not a baby in the background. It's my chair, but it just does it sometimes. Oh, hell, there's a baby under here. I'm joking. No, there's no baby. It's my chair. All right. Ooh, him, thank you so much for the donation. How about 1 hour every day? I would love to do that. I really would. But see, in the meanwhile, you don't even have a clue of the wonderful things that we're going to be bringing you. Not even a clue. Friends, get ready. It's going to get weird. It's getting weird up in here already. The things that you guys are going to see out of YourGuitarSage and everything that we're doing, you guys are going to lose your ever-loving minds. It's coming. We have lots of stuff in the works. There's going to be other channels that we're going to be doing. Oh, so many good things. But just wait for it. You're going to start seeing some stuff trickle out here shortly, and you're going to lose your minds. And I'm sorry for that. I'm not sorry. Him, thank you so much for the donation. We want a lesson on how to throw everything you've ever learned out the window and just play Slayer. Anyone? You know, that's the kind of stuff I grew up on, was that hardcore metal. I grew up on all that stuff. Yeah, I love it. It moves you. I've never used the circle of fifths, fourths, or maybe I do. I just look at my fretboard. I mean, same thing with me. If I needed to for some reason, I would just use the fretboard. But if you know where a fifth is at and you're moving up in fifths, then you're using the circle of fifths. You're just not thinking about it like on a wheel per se. Yes, I'm with you, Indy did. Yeah. John is saying PayPal link. Yeah, we will post that, the PayPal link, indeed. It should be, friends, guys, do we have that in the description of the video? The PayPal link?
Probably not.
Would you put a note to put that in there? Because I know folks are always asking about that. That needs to be in the description so folks can go there. But, sorry, that's my water. A vegan cooking show. No, it should be, though, because my wife can... Dear Lord, for folks that think that vegan food is boring, oh my God, you need to have my wife's cooking because she is a beast. You would not complain. My father-in-law, who's a big meat eater, loves her food. He's just never, he's like, I don't want to know what's in here. But he's like, I love it. Why the change in the logo? I grew up with the great one and it worked for me.
Go to your room, Gary.
Gary, you know, times are changing, I'd say, number one. And number two, you know, it was. But, you know, everybody over time changes and logos change and all the rest. So we wanted something fresh. We want to let you guys know that we're doing things. We're listening. We're not getting old. We're not being stagnant. And we do care about what we look like and what we're, you know, what we're presenting to you. I didn't want to wear pants today, but I'm doing it because I love you guys. You know, we're being fresh, doing things fresh, putting pants on. How much theory is enough? Sad face, crying. Fungus, here's the deal. How much knowledge is enough? How much love is enough? How much awesome, insert your cuss word there, is enough? Like how much great stuff is enough? Think of theory as that. Theory is knowledge. Knowledge is power. So if you understand music, then you're just going to be a greater musician. You're going to understand everything more. But that being said, you really don't need a ton of theory to be able to know really what it is that you're doing on the instrument. It's not very much at all, but you need the right stuff. I talk about Pareto's rule all the time. Learn the right 20% of the whole enchilada, right? So you got 100% of information. It's theory. We're just talking about basic ideas here. 100%. Well, that's a lot. But what happens if I said only learn this 20% and you'll be able to do the majority of everything here? You'd be like, okay, I'm listening. Or you could learn 80%, the other 80%, which is this stuff you're rarely going to use when people are talking about all these exotic scales and exotic chords and stuff that you're never going to use. They think that there's a diamond in the rough there, and if they just shine it up, then the world's going to follow their music. It doesn't work like that. So 80% of the other stuff that you're hardly ever going to use, it's going to take a long time to learn, and you're barely ever going to use it. Don't do that. Pareto's rule. Learn the right 20%, and then you're going to be unstoppable. And that's exactly what I teach you in the Unstoppable Guitar System standard, and through the whole pro program as well. But the standard part is it's going to get you through all the theory that you have to know today to watch these videos, to understand what other people are talking about. Okay, and it's free. Will you show Travis picking and flamenco style picking? So, no, that would take a long time for us to do in this program here, but talking about Travis picking, what Travis picking is when you're moving this thumb back and forth. That sort of thing, you know? That's Travis picking when your thumb's bebopping around back and forth to a bass note. And I do teach that inside of UGS. I don't know if I have a video for that on YouTube or not, but for me to teach that to you is a good 2-hour lesson. So we wouldn't be doing that today. And as far as flamenco, I don't know how to play flamenco. You know, I know how to do this faux bit here where I'm just kind of doing a rasgueado. I'm not the guy to teach that. There's somebody out there who's much better at flamenco than me, and I would follow them if you really want to know that stuff, because that's its own deal. And I would hate to teach you something. I mean, I would hate to teach you something that someone could teach you better. Does that make sense? All right. Oh, thank you. Whatever caused you to decide to give your time and talent every week, I am very thankful. And whatever you decide to continue doing, I will remain thankful. Robert, thank you so much. That is a super kind message. And, you know, I have people who I follow who are doing great things for the world, donating lots of money to charity, helping people. You mention Tony Robbins all the time because that guy, he has methods, just like I have methods for teaching guitar. He has methods for changing your life in anything that you want. And he helped me to change my business, to change my mindset, to change lots of things, which have absolutely poured into you guys. So without Tony, I would not be able to do as much as I'm doing now because he gave me methods through his books and everything else. And so he's doing his thing, and they got these other people that I follow that are doing their thing. And for me, I've always helped people with guitar, and but there's so much more to life than just guitar. So that's why I decided to do what I'm doing here. Is like wake up every day and I'm like, well, I could teach people how to do that. I'm pretty good at that, so why don't I turn the camera on and do that? And for those folks that are wondering, you know, I have people say it all the time. They say, I want to do something like that. How do I do that? And I say, do it. Like literally, do it. No one starts off with 1 million views. I've been doing this since 2006, and I still don't have, or subscribers, I still don't have 1 million subscribers. But that's not why I started off doing this. You know, I mean, 1 million subscribers is great, not as good as 2 million, definitely not as good as 10 million. So at the end, they're just numbers, but you can decide to create a video today to send it to your friends that might encourage them. And so instead of having to make one phone call to one person that it would encourage people, you could make a video, and if even only 40 people watch it, think about how powerful that is. So what I'm saying is, if you want to do something like this, we have never been in an easier time in the world. So if you're waiting for it to get easier than the way it is right now, then you're probably never going to do it. Do it now. And don't worry about having high-end equipment and all the rest. If you have a cell phone, you can do everything that you want to do. And figure out what your thing is. How can you help the world? See people doing it all the time, showing people how to hack all sorts of stuff. So just do it if you so desire. Oh, John, thank you so much for the donation via PayPal. That was super kind. Vikram, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing great, Vikram. I hope you're doing well. Why don't you do lessons related to blues style playing? Vikram, let's talk. That's about all I do is blues. I have so many blues lessons, it's not even funny. So Vikram, in Google, search YourGuitarSage blues, and you're going to find so many blues lessons, you're not even going to know what to do with them, okay? Yes, I teach lots of blues. Inside of UGS, I teach tons of blues as well. So I got you covered, buddy. We can do it. My knees, oh, beautiful. My food quality increased in a major way when I stopped eating meat. Crazy. I know, me too. It's not crazy. It's not crazy because it's inflammatory. And your cells, when they get inflamed, they create disease. Did you know that only 1%, this is science, well, everybody uses that term anymore, so it doesn't matter anymore. But this is in medical journals and everything else. There's only 1% of diseases that are caused because of your genes, because you're born with it. The other 99% of the diseases are caused because of condition, because of what we eat, because of the way we think, et cetera, et cetera. Let that sink in for just a minute. That's just a crack in the shell a little bit. I won't say anything more than that because I know that will literally trigger people and get them mad. Go figure. Just the messenger, don't shoot me. Oh, good. Thank you, Al. I like the new logo. Beautiful. Okay. Bryant's triggered by the vegan comment. Uh-oh. He's getting mad. People eating plants. Damn those plant eaters! Damn them! Where can we see the song that is dropping that will give us insight into the Nashville industry? That video is coming up here, friend. It's coming up. Are we dropping it today? Do you guys know? I think it's being dropped today if it hadn't dropped already.
Today.
Today, yeah.
If I'm wrong, I'll change it.
Yeah, I think it's dropping today, so just be looking out for it. If you're subscribed to the channel, then bingo bango, you will see it, okay? Okay, nice. Great questions. You guys are massively active today. Okay, Russ R is saying, did UGS standard? Okay, good. Good for you, Russ. Good for you, because a lot of people are still watching this and still haven't gone through standard, and I'm literally giving them a course that if they met with me one-on-one, it would cost $1,000 minimum to go over that with me, one-on-one, and I'm giving them the same exact material in the comfort of their own home, but there's folks that still won't take advantage of that. Why is that? I don't know why. Curious about UGS Pro, are there different topics where a student can choose which to study? Yes. The answer to that is yes. Or is it more linear path, like to move around, but we have gaps to fill in? No, it's step by step. There's a beginner, there's intermediate, there's advanced, there's intermediate plus, there's an advanced plus, and those are kind of breakout courses where we might talk about a specific one thing. But like the intermediate, there's intermediate theory, intermediate technique, etc., and then there's pro theory, pro technique, and there's like 4 subjects under there, chords and scales. And so obviously you would do the intermediate stuff before you do the pro stuff, but then the breakouts of intermediate plus, advanced plus break out into things like Nashville number system, circle of fifths, call and response, blues, call and response, that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? John, thank you for the donation on PayPal. So kind, bud. Check out Ben Woods for flamenco stuff. I've talked with Ben. I want to have him on the show. He's such a badass player. I love him. Check if you're a fan of flamenco or a fan of heavy metal or a fan of both like me, check out Ben Woods, because he will take these classic heavy metal songs but play them in flamenco style, and oh dear Lord in heaven, it's like, I don't know, like, not that I eat these, but it's like taking, if you like Twinkies, it's like deep frying a Twinkie. Which I think that sounds disgusting, but like whatever, take something else, you know, chocolate and cherries or something like that. It's like taking 2 amazing things and putting them together. If you like those styles, obviously. If you don't, then you won't like that. Oh, good, Esther. Going off topic, Eric, I love the interview with Cameron James yesterday. You always introduce us to the sweetest, most interesting, and unassuming people. Thank you, Esther. Yes, from your ears to everybody listening here, check out that video with Cameron today. Cameron is a multi-instrumentalist, producer, great guitar player, singer, artist, songwriter. He's done it all, and now he's into woodworking. So he does it. This guy is amazing, and I just did this interview with him. He writes with my wife. He's an amazing dude, a friend of the family, and I thought I would introduce him to you because he's really so awesome, and he's a great guy to speak to too. He can talk. He's like me. Would you please spell those different types of diminished chords starting on the C? Sandy, there's a million of them. So look, here's the way to do it. Here's a quick way to do it, Sandy's. Any note that you choose, a G, go up 3 frets. 1, 2, 3, play that note. Go up 3 frets, play that note. Go up 3 frets, play that note. Go up 3 notes, play that 3 frets, play that note. If you take any combination of those notes there, take 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, play them on your guitar, and you'll have a diminished chord. And just the way the diminished chord works is every single note that you play in that diminished chord is also the name of that chord. Unlike any other chord, because it's symmetrical, 3 notes or 3 half steps, etc., because of that, it's a perfect circle, and you can name this a G sharp diminished or a A sharp, or a G diminished, an A sharp diminished, and so on and so forth. It's a weird little fun bit. Ah, you're so welcome, Pepper. Oh, hold on. Someone asked about cowboy chords here. God, I'm not moving quick enough here. Live Alive 42, learning a lot more songs now. Can you talk about economy of movement in chord changes like anchoring fingers? Yes, I can. Let's do it. Let's do that. I'm trying to get to all these questions. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of them today. Learning a lot more songs. Can you talk about economy of movement in chord changes like anchoring fingers? Yes, Live Alive. And I'm assuming you've gone through, no, I'm assuming you haven't, because if you're asking that question, because that is in the free course that I give you. But maybe you're just needing a refresher. Otherwise, it's in UGS Standard, which I'm giving you for free today. The link is below, YourGuitarSage.com/UGS. But we're talking about economy of movement and anchoring fingers and what have you. I always say this, if you're going from a C chord to an A minor chord, in the beginning, beginners will do this. They'll go A minor, and then they'll go, okay, C, okay, so this finger, and this finger, and this finger. Okay, C chord. And then they're like, A minor, okay. Okay, this finger, and this finger, and this finger. And you're like, okay, cool, you're doing a lot of work. When in fact, if you're going from an A minor to a C chord, watch how difficult this is. But hang on, because I'm going to end up doing a lot of stuff, so you're going to have to pay attention. Watch. You watching? Watch. Here I go. A minor to C. Here we go. Watch or you'll miss it. Boom. What? Yeah, that's it. If I go from the C to the A minor, watch. 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 Boom. It's that easy. You're just moving one finger. So what you want to do now, you have to do the math on this ahead of time so that you can do that. And then you got to train your fingers, the guys to stay down, the guys that don't want to stay down, that want to lift up every time. You have to mentally train them to do that. But if I'm going from the C to the A minor, and I know these two fingers are staying, why am I lifting them up? That's a waste. So every chord, going from one chord to the next, every single chord variance is different. So you might find going from the E major to the A minor is there's no fingers that are the same except for the form, and you're dropping it down one string. So that would be an example. Or if you're going from a D to a G, well, this finger doesn't have to move. So why would you move it? Why don't you keep it as an anchor so that all the other notes can move around it and you'll have something rock solid so that your other, it's kind of like someone leading the other notes, the other fingers to land in the right place. But if there's no leader, everybody comes off, then we got to assemble the line again, right? So, and I talk about that in detail when we're talking about transitioning from chords to chords inside the free program I'm giving you today, inside of UGS Standard. 7 of the top 10 causes of death are lifestyle choices. That's true, Wayne. It's just true. My knees, I'm not vegan, by the way. I just don't eat animal products, just plants. Me too. I don't like to say vegan. It's so triggering. Everybody's so triggered these days. Plant. I eat plants. Sorry if someone likes plants, sorry. Hey Eric, what are the basic things to enhance guitar playing? I play for my church and the style of music is soft rock. What can you advise you give? Matthew, that's a really broad stroke. There's 10,000 things I could advise you to do. The best thing I would advise you to do is get on some sort of program or get in a book, get something that's moving you forward. But there's a million things. You could spend a lifetime just chord noodling and making everything a lot more interesting. In fact, that'd be the #1 thing I would hand you to say, do that. It's soft rock. You're playing chords. You're not going to step on anybody's foot doing this. You're just going to add little colors to what's happening already, and they're going to look at you and they're going to say, Matthew, what are you doing? That's amazing. You'll be like, nothing, just doing some chord noodling over here. And it really, truly will help, okay? Brian is coming on strong with the meat. He's like, I'm going to eat meat until I die. And then I'll show you. Plant eater. Bryant. It's okay, man. It's okay. Bryant must have had like a father who was very vegan and very coming down on him. You eat your broccoli. And he's like, no, Dad, I'm just eating pulled pork from now on. That's all I'm eating. I can't poop, but I'm eating pulled pork all day long. Here you go. Helped cures cancer by eating macrobiotic. I didn't create these rules, by the way. These are just universal rules. Get mad at them if you'd like. How long does it take to master the guitar? I don't know. I've been trying for 35 years. I'm not even close. So it takes a long time, I'd say. You know, I find that the better the guitar player that I run into, that I interview here, the more they say they're further away from that goal. So what I always say is this too, guitar is a journey. So if you're looking to get to the end of the goal, you've already lost, because it's all the journey. It's all about discovering this new stuff, having fun, coming out with a new thing. Now you're in church and you're playing those chord noodles and you're having a blast, right? And you're improving, and that's the journey. You didn't arrive. You maybe arrived at a new thing, but you're constantly growing, right? Oh, good, beautiful. UGS has a nice foundation. Thank you, Indie Dead. From Blues Overview, get the UGS Pro, and Sage will take you down the rabbit hole. Eric has artist cameo lessons. Yep, RJ Ronquillo, Robbie Calvo. I'm talking to Corey this week, Corey Congilio. Hopefully, I would love to have him in the program. Jeff Duke. We're talking to Chip Henderson, jazz guy. Yeah. So we like to have all the kids in here so we can do all this fun stuff and learn all the genres, right? Why not? Why not do that? Oh, yay. I just have to say I've been watching these videos and using UGS Pro. It's the best. If it wasn't for that month, I would have never found this. Yeah, love it, D-Buster. Thank you so much. That's right. That's when we started seeing you and you being active in the program. So beautiful. Thanks, bud. I'm starting at 69. Love that. And, you know, it's like I find that that these folks that are starting in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s inside of UGS, not even thinking about age. They're just like, boom, I'm doing this. And my teens and my young 20-year-olds are saying, am I too old to do this? And I'm like, dude, come on. What up? No, you're not. Eric, I saw a chord noodling chart yesterday, but how do I use it? Walter, that's what we've been talking about the whole time. But I'd say at this point now, we're almost 4 hours into it. So that's what we've been talking about the whole time. So I would say watch these over again, Walter, or just search YourGuitarSage chord noodling and you'll find some other videos that I've talked about it too. But you're using this to just create melodies within your chords so that you're creating something creative. You know, you're creating melodies and what have you. Okay, good. SAS meter's picking up. It's true. Game Changers. I haven't seen that one. I heard it's very, very good, and I understand. Yeah, I understand it's very powerful. Haven't seen it though. Bryant, indeed. Universal rule. Cancer is caused by high pH. Oh yeah, Bryant is educated. Indeed, Bryant is 100% correct. It is caused by high pH. And you know what causes high pH, Bryant? I won't even tell you, because you know what does. You know what creates low pH? You know that one too, Bryant. What is good? And take it from somebody who's eaten hundreds of pounds of meat. Me. I've eaten hundreds of pounds of meat. I'm not pushing it. I'm just saying I wasn't born with sprouts in my mouth. I definitely ate enough meat to. I've killed many lives. Let's just say that. What is a good veggie cookbook or program? We're in Veggieville now. Oh She Glows is a beast of a book. I have never had a recipe out of that book that wasn't bonkers. It's bonkers, okay? Oh She Glows. I know, doesn't sound very manly, but I don't care. It's my wife cooks out of that, and it's It's bonkers. So there you go. Get it and eat it. All right, good. We have a lively bunch in here today. I know, it's true. Okay. Yep, the more you know about something, the more you realize you don't know. Rabbit hole, yep. You kids. 74 and practice every day. Ken. Yeah, started at 63. Beautiful. Yeah. A donation. Okay, I'm getting to it. Golly, very active today. Super active in the chat. Ah, you're so welcome, Matthew. Processed sugar, bad. Yes, indeed. Brian is educated, for sure. Yeah, it's not good, man. It tastes so good, but boy, oh boy, laughter is great medicine, yeah. Rick, thank you. Thanks, Eric and company. I get a lot out of these live sessions, live lessons, and appreciate your guys' time and effort. Thank you, Rick, and to the crew. Thank you. Everyone is jacked up, indeed. Food affects your mood. It 100% affects your mood. Okay, all right, I'm all the way to the bottom of the chat here. If any other ones come up, Mike, on any of the other platforms, please let me know. Is it raining out? Sounds like it. Okay, so let's, I'll be waiting for more questions here from you guys, but I'm all the way at the bottom of the chat now. So someone asked, how do you use this? Well, why do you paint a picture? Well, you paint a picture because you want to express yourself. Why do you play a chord or a song? Because you want to express yourself. That's all the liberty you need. Because it's fun. Why do you eat food? Well, number one, you got to eat something, I guess. But it also tastes good, right? So, like, we're talking about feeling. We're talking about the reason why we're chord noodling is we want to make things interesting. So, and the idea of chord noodling is we're taking a chord and we're playing a little melody underneath it. Maybe just a little tiny melody, but it's something that will take, 2 or 3, 4 chords and seam them all together so that your ear is hooked. Music's all about hooking people, right? Advertisers, if you want to be a professional songwriter, they don't care about your opinion. Sorry, they don't. Just write something up. Write something that's happy. Write something that I can sell something with, be it a Target ad or airplay on the radio, whatever. I hate that music's come to this, Eric. Guess what? Mozart had to do this. The king would say, I want you to write this thing when I walk in, and I want it to be grand, and whatever. It sounds really grand, and now here he goes. He's like, I hate writing this. And he's writing it because the king wants something up and what have you. He just wants to write a dirge because his father, was a terrible father or whatever, and he just wants to write from his soul, right? It's been going on since the beginning of time. We have commercial hits and we have non-commercial hits, and but we're writing from the soul, no matter what, Or sometimes we're just writing commercially, but that's even from the soul, it has to be. So that's what we're doing with chord noodling is we're just taking chords and we're throwing in some sort of melody to make it all come together and sound more appealing, It's spice on our food, if you will, since we're talking about food so much today. Any homework or pre-study for next week? Okay, yes, let's talk about it. First off, yes, here is your homework. So the homework for this week is this. What I want you to do is, number one, if you have not, let's summarize. We're still going to go a few more minutes here, but here's the deal. Download the PDF. The link is below. You don't have to enter in an email or do anything like that. It's just free for you. So download that, look over it, read over what I've given you there, and practice something this week, either in the key of C or the key of G. But let's make this simple. Take 2 chords, either in the key of C or in the key of G, I don't care. take one chord. Let's do one chord in one of those keys. If it's the C, take the C chord. And the only thing I want you to do is I want you to noodle on one string, maybe one or two, it needs to be 2 or more notes. Let's say 2 notes. One chord, 2 notes, that's your homework. Really, I'm just trying to get you moving. So do this, take a C chord, lift your finger off. But Eric, I'm a finger picker. Cool. Cool. And then, so now you're in G. Let's do something in G. Take 2 chords. If you really want to get fancy, do 2 chords. That's your homework for this week. Now, your pre-study for next week is to watch my finger picking videos. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage finger picking. And if you are, and we're going to end this one early because I have to pee so bad it's not even funny. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to go 10 minutes yet because I am not wearing a diaper. I refuse. So we're going to end this early. But here's the deal. This is what I want you to do. For next week, I want you to search YourGuitarSage finger picking inside of YouTube. Okay? And if you're inside of UGS Pro, do that. That's your homework for the week, okay? Lots of finger picking videos inside of UGS, okay?
Premiere at 1:15.
Oh, there's a premiere at 1:15, okay? Here we go. Premiere at 1:15. I will be there in the chat with you guys, okay? 1:15 here on YouTube. Check it out. Emmy's going to drop that link. Join me over there. I'll be hopping in there eventually. Chat amongst yourselves. Share anecdotes and links and all the rest in there. Chat amongst yourselves because we got a great community here. All right, there you go. Join me there in just a few minutes. If you haven't already, like this video, share it to the interwebs with the other kids because they need to watch too. And just because it's done doesn't mean they can't watch it again. And then subscribe, hit the notification bell. Love you guys. I'll see you next week on Monday, 11 a.m. We'll be talking about finger picking. All right. See you at the premiere in just a few minutes.